Hello everyone, today I'm going to be heading to Neiman Marcus in San Francisco for their afternoon tea. Neiman Marcus is a luxury department store in San Francisco, and they also serve an afternoon tea at their restaurant, and I've heard it's really good. I've seen pictures of it, and they look like they have a lot of different items at their afternoon tea, anywhere from sandwiches to scones to little finger sandwiches. I've had afternoon tea a few times in the past, but never for a video, so I'm kind of curious to compare it to my other experiences, and I'm glad to share the experience with you all. So let's go to San Francisco now. It's going to be a bit of a drive, but I'm sure it'll be well worth it. I just arrived here at Neiman Marcus, and I gotta say I love their service. We got here 15 minutes early, and they decided to seat us immediately. They already brought out some of the first food. You start off every single tea and every single meal with a little bit of consommé. I love the flavor of the consommé. It has a really light flavor. It's really refreshing in a way. It's nice and hot, and I love the flavor of the chicken. You can really taste the flavor from the chicken bones because it tastes like the stock was made for a really long time. Next, I'm going to be trying a popover with strawberry butter, and look at the size of this. It feels so pillowy and soft. This strawberry butter looks so vibrant, and it really has a strong strawberry smell, so I have a feeling this is going to be so tasty. Wow, I love the popover. The popover itself is so airy, and it really has a nice buttery flavor, which gets elevated from the strawberry butter. The strawberry butter tastes really nice and sweet, almost like a buttercream in a way, but it's also very rich, and I love the intense flavor of the strawberries. It tastes really fresh, and it tastes almost like some sort of homemade strawberry jam. It's really quite tasty. I really could just eat that butter straight up. It's that good. Now for a taste of their tea, I decided to order their only green tea on the menu. I don't remember the exact name, it's some sort of French name, but it smells really nice. It's super fragrant, and I added a little bit of cream and sugar. Oh, that is wonderful. It's so light and floral, and I really do like the cream and sugar. It just adds a little bit of sweetness and creaminess, and it's so warm and comforting. The rest of the food for a tea arrived, and there's 3 tiers of all sorts of different things, but I'm going to start on a tier with the scones, and right here we have their savory scone. Savory scone is really nice. It's nice and buttery. I love the crumbly texture. The inside is nice and soft, and I love the flavor. There's a little bit of rosemary and cheese, so I really love the fragrance from the rosemary. Now for the sweet scones, and this is a cranberry scone, and they serve it with lemon curd on the side, which I adore. I love the sweet scone. It's really nice and crunchy, and I love that it's topped with sugar that adds an additional crunch and sweetness, but what makes it really nice is the lemon curd. I love the rich and tart flavor from the lemon curd. Now for the savory items, this looks like a cucumber finger sandwich of sorts. It looks like there's some sort of cream on top of a little bit of bread and some cucumbers on top. I love that finger sandwich. The bread on the bottom is really soft. There's a thin layer of cream cheese with lots of dill in there, and I love how the cucumbers are sliced really thin. It sounds a little unusual, but it kind of reminds me of a dill pickle in the best way possible. Now for their roast beef sandwich, and this looks really nice. The roast beef looks nice and juicy. Oh, that is so wonderful. I love the bread. It's really light and fluffy, and the roast beef is really nice and salty and savory, and I love the texture. It is literally so tender. Some of the most tender roast beef I've ever had. Next is the smoked salmon and caviar. This is a thin layer of cream cheese on top of bread, topped with a little bit of smoked salmon and caviar. This might be my favorite savory item so far. I love smoked salmon. It has the perfect texture. It's just so soft. It melts in your mouth. And I love the caviar on top. It really adds a little bit of earthiness and brininess. And the cream cheese is also quite nice to add some creaminess. And what I think is really nice is I like that they add some chives, which adds a bit of brightness to the dish. Next is a cranberry chicken salad sandwich. And this was my waitress's favorite item. It's a cranberry chicken salad stuffed inside of a croissant. I'm gonna be honest, the chicken sandwich is nice, but it's not great. And personally, I feel like I'm a bit picky when it comes to croissants. It's not the best croissant I've had, but it does the job. It's the solid bread that holds it together. And I do love the flavor of the chicken salad. It's a creamy chicken salad, and you get a really nice crunch and flavor from the celery in there. Now I'm moving on to the desserts right on top, and this is the English chouchou. Ooh, this is a really tasty dessert. It's so small, and I definitely want more of these because the outside tastes like a cream puff, and inside you have some sort of salted caramel. It's really gooey and rich in flavor, and the bottom is a nice chocolatey disc. Just adds a little bit of texture and richness. Next is this fruit tart. It looks like there's 2 blueberries and a raspberry on top with some sort of custard or cream on the bottom. They're really hitting it out of the park with all their desserts. This one is great as well. I love the outer shell. It tastes like a wafer cookie coated in white chocolate. And what's really incredible is the filling inside. It's this rich vanilla bean custard, so much vanilla-y goodness. Next is this little pastry. It almost looks like a mini eclair, and it's filled with lemon cream. You really can't go wrong with this. It's a paper-thin pastry filled with lemon curd. So it's 90% lemon curd, and I really enjoy that. It's just like a mouthful of lemony, tart, zesty goodness. You can't have tea without macaroons. This is some sort of pink macaroon. I'm guessing it's either strawberry or raspberry. That's a really nice macaroon. It's a raspberry macaroon, one of my favorite flavors. I love the filling. It's so nice and tart. Love the rich raspberry flavor, and the cookie on the outside is nice and light as well. It's finally time for our last item, which is the lemon meringue tart. The lemon tart's alright. You can't really mess up a lemon tart, but I'm not the biggest fan of the crust. It's a little bit on the dry side and it could be more buttery, but I think the filling in the top really saves it because you have the rich lemony filling and the really fluffy meringue on top. So really it's not a bad lemon tart, just average. Now I'm going to share with you some of my favorites. For sure, one of the highlights was the popover at the beginning. That was just incredible. And that strawberry butter, I wish they sold that stuff because it would go like hotcakes. It's so tasty and I could see it being really popular here. In terms of the scones, I prefer the cranberry scone over the savory one, and that's just because I really liked how the lemon curd went with it. For the savory items, I really like the smoked salmon and caviar. Smoked salmon is always a delicious treat for me, and I also thought the roast beef was really nice because it was so juicy and really tender. The desserts were tasty, but my favorite was definitely the chouchou. I loved all the different elements of it. The chocolate on the bottom was really nice. The outer pastry was great, but I really loved the inner caramel, which was so rich and flavorful. In terms of my rating for the tea, I would give it about a 7 out of 10. It's not the best tea I've ever had, but it was definitely solid, and the atmosphere was pretty good as well. There was definitely some highlights, but there were a little bit of items that I wasn't the biggest fan of. But overall, it's definitely worth checking out. The one thing I do like is I thought it was a pretty good value. It was around $52 a person when I booked it, so I thought it was pretty good considering the amount of food they give you, because I thought it was a decent portion of food. And yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.